Hey guys, it's Heather the Crochet Witch. I have finally put together this long promised, hopefully anticipated tutorial for my Silent Night cowl. Here is the newest one that I've made. I know I've shown several off on my podcast, but here's the one we're making today. The pattern has been previously released and is available still on my Etsy shop should you prefer the written pattern or want to follow along. Yeah, I know I've been saying forever now that I'm gonna get the tutorial out, and I finally got around to it. I'm so sorry for the delay, but it's here now, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you'll want to make it. And yeah, I definitely hope you'll show me what you've made and your take on my pattern. And yeah, so let's get on with it, and here we go.
Okay, so to briefly talk about what I'm using to make my Silent Night cowl, we're going to be using today Shawl and a Ball, which is so far what I've used to make all of my Silent Night cowls, but pretty much any, as far as like the size that I've written the pattern for, pretty much any like 3-weight yarn would work really nicely. I've seen some people have used other weight yarns, and of course like it's just a multiple of 4, so like you can use any size weight you want with any any corresponding hook size that you want. That'll work out for you. You don't have to make it cowl sized. If you want more like an infinity scarf, or if you want a neck warmer size and even make it smaller than the pattern is written, or if you want it even drapier, really, like, the sky's the limit. Anything creatively that you want to do, of course, is up to you. But for this purpose today, we're doing Shawl and a Ball because that's what I've used in all the other examples. This particular color is Restful Rainbow. And yeah, this says that is a 4-weight yarn, but again, it's more like a 3-weight yarn, even with the fuzzers. Anybody that's more experienced with Shawl and a Ball, I would even go so far as to say it's basically a 2-weight yarn. So really any weight yarn that you want to use, like I said. This is just a multiple of 4, so whatever you end up wanting to use. And as always, make sure if you want to tag me, my information's down below for like Instagram, or if you want to private message it to me, or if you want to email it to me, or when I get my Facebook group going, if you want to show me there. I would love to see your creations and your take on anything that I design. That's always really awesome, but I digress. Today we're using Shawl and a Ball in Restful Rainbow, and I am using an eye hook. I am a Susan Bates girl, so this particular one, 5.5 millimeter size eye, Susan Bates. So without further ado, let's get to making the Silent Night cowl. Okay, so as I've already said, this is done with just chaining in multiples of 4. So for mine, using the Shawl and a Ball, I did 120 chains. So we just did the slip knot. If you've never done it, because this is, I would call this a beginner. Maybe like 1 stitch in it is slightly intermediate, but I feel like if you watch this tutorial, I feel like anybody can do this. So you've got this, even as a beginner. So, but just to go over the slip knot, just make the knot or the loop, and I just pull through like that and pull it up and tighten it. So just slip knot it on and chain 120. I'm not going to sit here and make you guys chain 120 with me. So however much, like whatever size you've decided to make, just go ahead and do that, and meet me back here after you've got that done. We're going to chain your multiple of 40, and then you're going to join it with a slip stitch, being really careful not to twist your chain. and I will join it on camera with you and show you how I try my best not to twist anything when I'm doing it. So I will be back after 120 chains. Okay, so I just finished my 120. Now, what I do is just try to run my fingers back down it to make sure it's straight. And really, it's not the end of the world, I suppose, because of the way we're going to put in row 1 anyway. But yeah, if you even see the chain twist a little bit, just go ahead and go back and start again. So go back around, go into your circle, into the first chain you made, and join that with a slip stitch. And pull the tail down here. Okay, and there's your big 120 chain circle. So to start row 1, you are going to chain 2. So 1 and 2. This is not going to count as a double crochet, okay? But for row 1, you're going to do 1 double crochet in each chain around. So it's going to be a total of 120 double crochet. So this one doesn't count because this is going to kind of like be a filler, so there's no weird gapping in between, and hopefully it's not going to be much of a seam then, basically, on the way up. Like, that's the way I like to try to hide my seam a little bit. That's like a little crochet witch secret. It's probably not much of a secret, honestly. I feel like most people probably do that, but so you just, yeah, work your double crochets in each one. And what I do, like, let's get past this first one here so it's a little more apparent, because the first one's always a little stretched out from where you joined your slip stitch, right? So there's one, and we'll get to the second one. And in the second one, and all the way down the chain from here on out, I go into this top loop, like just one, and do that. And here's why. Let me see, hopefully it'll show up for you guys better. But then at the bottom, there's a more finished edge. So you don't, like, a lot of times if you do both loops here, it'll look a little unfinished, and a lot of times if I do that, I'll feel necessary to come back around and do like a sort of like a finished edge at the bottom. Once you work this is two chains already at the bottom, so it already looks finished, if you catch my drift. And once you get past this, like, it doesn't, just because you're going through one chain instead of both of them, through one loop, I mean, instead of both of them, it doesn't leave, like right now, there's kind of a gap here. That's not going to be the case once you get all the way down it. So what you're going to do, and you don't have to, if you don't want to, that's totally fine. Plus, that's going to be the bottom of your cowl anyway, so you can either go back at the very end and do a little finishing row on it, or you can do it this way, or you can leave it as is and it's just going to be the bottom anyway, or maybe you like the edging on it. I mean, creatively, it's yours. Do whatever you want. Totally fine. That's just like how I like to do it. Because see, you can see already, it's not, and see how the edge looks. Shawl and a ball is a little more forgiving, so you kind of can't tell anyway as much as you could, but it's not looking gapey and bad, for a better way to put it. But anyway, so you're just going to work your 120 double crochets around, and then I'm going to meet you back to do the slip stitch, because remember, this first this first chain 2 that you worked is not a double crochet. So when you join with your slip stitch, you're going to slip stitch over here into your actual first double crochet that you made. So we're going to do that together when we get back and get ready to start round 2, okay? So after 120 double crochets, or however many you've done for your row, I'm going to meet you back here. Meet you back in a minute, guys. Okay, so I just finished my 120. Let me straighten this back out. And then remember, like I just said, just said to you guys, it was a second ago for me, but this is not counting as the double crochet. So this is your first double crochet, and we're gonna go back into there, and we're gonna slip stitch that. Okay, and we're gonna slip stitch that together, and see that kind of covers that up a little, not covers it up, but it bunches up in there. So I guess it does cover up what a little seam would be. And as we go up, it's going to do that more so that there's not like an obvious seam going up. Okay, so now for round 2. Round 2 is quite easy. It is literally just chain 2. This also, common theme here, does not count as your double crochet, and you just double crochet in each of the previous double crochets. So you go back into the first double crochet and double crochet, and next double crochet, do a double crochet, and continue that all the way around until you have another 120 double crochets, and we'll be back to slip stitch into not the chain 2 but the first actual double crochet. So I will meet you guys back around to start round 3. Be back in a minute, guys. Alright, just finishing my 120, and I don't know about you guys, but I love how that went much faster than the first one, working into the chain space. Okay, so remember that chain 2 right there didn't count, and we're just going to go into the first actual double crochet and slip stitch right there and close it up. And for round 3, we're going to chain 2 again, and guess what, this does not count as a double crochet. And then we are just going to front post double crochet around each of the previous double crochets, the previous round double crochets. Now what I will say, and I suggest if you want, is I would, since this one doesn't count in any of the rows, I would try to front post double crochet around both of those, just for like, so it's not sitting there, you know what I mean? Because if you do it here, it's gonna still be just sitting there, and then it kind of will show up. I know it doesn't count, but it'll still trap it in there. Okay, how about I don't back post double crochet? There we go. Front post double crochet. We're gonna get it right. So you just put your hook in like so, and this is the only time we're going to be doing 2 because it doesn't really count. It's just gonna kind of become part of that double crochet in just this row. And you don't have to if you don't want to, if it's a bit much, or if you think you'll like the way it looks not doing that, that's fine. You don't have to. Total creative license on anything, as always, but just my little tip, I guess. You're just gonna front post double crochet around every single one of these double crochets. And if you'll notice, what I'm doing is I'm putting a little bit of texture, and we're making like a little ledge right here. And that's going to continue because that is the beauty of this Silent Night cowl, is that it's, the shawl in a ball gives it like the diversity of the color and like the really pretty long fades, but no matter what yarn you decide to use, the texture that you put into this with these just few basic stitches is going to be really like nice. And like any time that I wear it out and I get my compliments on it and stuff, I think this because people notice not only the color fading and stuff, but they notice the textures and everything on it. So, and it's really, really simple to create, as you'll see as we go along. So yeah, just front post double crochet all the way around. That's going to give you a total of 120 front post double crochets. We'll do it one more time just in case you want to see it one more time. And just stick your hook through there, and otherwise do a normal double crochet. Okay, and meet me back here when you have finished 120 of these babies, and we will move on to the next row. Okay? Okay, so we're just finishing up row 3 here. We've done 120, or whatever your multiple is, of these front post double crochets. So we got this nice ledge here all the way around. And we're gonna slip stitch into not the chain 2, but the first double crochet made. And join that. Okay. So there we go. And see how there's really no, like, I can see like where the colors are. I can see where things are joining here. But other than that, there's no big wonky seam going up. You and I know where it's at, but yeah, other than that. Okay, so now we're moving on to row 4. We're going to, as we've been, chain 2, which is still not counting as anything but a chain 2. Okay, so this is another textury row, and this is, if you can get this, you can master anything going on in this cowl here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to double crochet, but we are going to skip the first double crochet. So not here, but we're going to double crochet in the second of the previous round. Okay. So we're going to double crochet there. So it looks a little odd to begin with. And then we're going to wrap our hook for another double crochet, but we're going to dive back into this first double crochet. So I usually do it from behind. I think that's the easiest way to go about it. And complete the double crochet. Oop. So it'll become a little more apparent once you have a few more done, but if I hold this chain 2, you might be able to see it better. But essentially what we've done is we've made the first X of the row. You're going to end up with 60 of these because for every 2 stitches you have an X. So we're just going to do that all the way around. I'm going to do it a couple more times with you. So we're going to do a double crochet, but we're going to skip this one, and we're going to go into the second one of the next. So we're going to go into, or skip one, go into the next, and double crochet. Okay, so there's that hole. And then we're going to wrap, come in from behind, and double crochet into the skipped double crochet. And so there's a second X. And these will also straighten out a little bit more on your next row, so you can see them even better. Let's do that another time. So we're going to wrap your hook, skip one, and go into the next double crochet and double crochet. See, leaving the gap, and then wrap your hook, come back into that skip space, and double crochet to make an X. See your row of X's starting right there? Let's do it one more time together, but I know you got this. So we're going to wrap your hook and skip one spot, go into the next, and double crochet, leaving us gapping space there, and then wrap your hook, come in from behind, and go back into that skipped spot and double crochet. And there's your X. So you've got 4 X's now. And you're just going to go all the way back around. I'm going to meet you once we're back over here to complete our row. We'll slip stitch to join together, but in case you work ahead, don't forget that this is not counting as anything, so you'll be slip stitching into the top of your X that we've made. So I will meet you back here for the end of row 4, and we'll start row 5 together. Be back in a few minutes, guys. Okay, so we are just finishing up row 4. I just did my last X right here, and we're about to slip stitch, ignoring this chain 2 and finding the first double crochet, which is right here, which is the front of the X right there, and slip stitching. And there it is. And we have a nice little row of these textured X's right above your ledge here. And we are going to move on to row 5. Row 5 is back to the easy stuff. All of this is easy stuff, but I'm just saying this was literally the biggest hurdle. If you got that, you got that. So row 5, you are going to chain 2. As always, does not count as a double crochet. And you are going to work 1 double crochet in the first 2 double crochet. So essentially, you're going to work a double crochet into each one of these X posts in this first X. So 1, and 2, okay, so you got 2 double crochet there, and then you're going to chain 2, so chain 1, chain 2, and we're going to skip an X, so you're going to just skip 1 and 2 double crochet, and then you're going to work 2 double crochet. So you're going to skip 1, skip 2, and then work 1 double crochet here, and work 1 double crochet here. Total of 2 there. Okay, so we got 2 double crochet, chain 2, skip 2, 2 double crochet. Then we're going to chain 2 and skip 2, and then we're going to work 2 more double crochet in the next X. So skipping 2, double crochet into the first part of the X, and this is what you're going to be doing all the way around. Double crochet into the second part of the X. Okay, so you're basically just forming these little windows. This is actually when this is built up tall, when you're doing the repeats, this was actually called referred to as the Roman Colosseum, where these are like the windows in the Colosseum, which I really like that reference, so I thought I would mention it. But anyway, this is what you're going to be doing all the way around. So I am just going to meet you back here. What you're going to have is a total of 60 double crochet and 30 of these little windows of the spaces that you create. You're going to end with a chain 2 right here, and then we're going to end up slip stitching into the first actual double crochet that you've created. But I will meet you back before we do the slip stitch and before we end row 5, and then we will start row 6 together. All right, we're almost done, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, just finishing up row 5. Like I said when I left you, we have the 2 double crochet and then the chain 2, and we're not counting this first chain 2, so we're going to slip stitch into the first double crochet we made and slip stitch it closed. So there we have all the little windows made, and we are about to start row 6, which is the final row of the repeat. So we're going to chain 2, still not counting ever as the double crochet. And I'm just showing you, like, after we've got these rows worked, see, it really doesn't, you don't have any real, like, line going up, except, like I said, you and I know where it is because we've been working this whole time, and because the color changes maybe right here, but other than that, like if you were doing this in a solid color, nobody knows but you and I where that line is, really. So magic. That's why I'm the crochet witch. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so what we're doing in this row is we're setting up to get back onto the repeat. You are going to double crochet in each one of the double crochets that are here. So 1 and 2, and then you are going to work 2 double crochet into the chain 2 space. So 1 and 2. So essentially what you're doing is you're just going to end up with a whole row of double crochets, right? So you're going to double crochet into all of the double crochets. So 1 and 2, and then you're going to work 2 double crochets into each one of the chain spaces. Okay, and you're going to do that all the way around, and you're going to end up with 120 double crochets, or whatever your multiple was when you're doing this, your multiple of 4, but you're going to do this all the way around, and I will meet you back here to talk about what we're going to do for the rest of this project from here on out. Okay, see you back in just a minute, guys. Okay, so I just put in my last 2 double crochets into this chain 2 space right here, and oh, the color change is starting to happen again. I love that about Shawl and a Ball. I think that makes so many projects look so nice. So we are going to join, still, by now you already know what I'm going to say, not into the first chain 2 space, but into your first double crochet. We're going to join with a slip stitch. And now basically that ends row 6, and what your repeat is row 3, where you did these front post double crochets all the way through row 6. This is your repeat. So the next thing that you're going to do is row 3, where you chain up the 2 and you work the front post double crochets here and make the little ledge again. You're going to do that, and you're going to work it up, and when you get to row 6, you're going to repeat again starting at row 3, and you're going to do those sets of 3 through 6 as many times as you want. I did 7 more times, so I had 8 sets of this repeat. So mine was fairly tall, but as you can see with the 120 chains, well, as you may not be able to see on camera, mine was quite wide, because it hangs at the neck, and it is wide enough for me to pull it up to my head and make it into like a hood, if you will. Just something to a protective layer against like the winds and stuff, as it was wintry when I was making this and designing this. It is, Shawl and a Ball's not terribly thick, so it is nice and light. It's good for like the chill in the air in the spring also, so it doesn't have to be like a winter item. But you're making this out of whatever you want, so it doesn't have to be in Shawl and a Ball. It can be in a heavier material, it can be in a light material. It doesn't have to be in repeats. It doesn't have to have an 8 row, an 8 set repeat. Do however many you want, but when you end, you should end on row 6, so that it ends on this finished row of, like, this solid row, I should say, so that you begin on a solid row and you end on a solid row, and then that will complete your project. So when you're done, and when I'm done, I'm going to flip the camera around and I will show you what mine looks like completed, and yeah, we'll just have our goodbye little chat, and yeah, so see you when we're done. Thanks, guys.
Okay, so we're back and I finished my 8 rows, or 8 sets, 7 repeats, 8 total of the stitches. So there is the complete item. Once again, that's done in shawl and a ball. So if you do 120 stitches and if you do all 8, that is what your completed item roughly will look like, depending on your tension, of course, and your hook size and all that good stuff. So you can see, I guess, why it was compared to the Roman Colosseum. I really, really like that, so I keep mentioning it. But anyway, if I didn't mention it at the beginning, thank you for everybody who's already purchased the pattern. But if you do prefer the written pattern, if you like to follow the pattern along, that is available in my Etsy shop, and I will link that down below. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial today, and I hope that you liked making the Silent Night cowl. Definitely let me know if you've made it. Please link me on Instagram or email it to me. All that information will be linked down below also. And yeah, I just hope you enjoyed it, and I'll have another one coming up soon. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.